Uganda is a country of immense physical beauty. The source of the Nile River, Murchison Falls, and several wildlife parks that are stunning. But it's the beauty of the people that is really something to see. Look at the faces of these students at one of the girls' schools the Unity Project is working with. You don't see any apathy, bitterness, sarcasm, or cynicism. You see genuine openness, poise, and sincerity. This despite the fact that a civil war raged for over 20 years in Uganda, and many young boys were kidnapped and forced under the threat of death to be child soldiers of the rebel army. As was the case at this school, many girls were kidnapped and forced into sexual slavery. This school has many of these girls, as well as orphans of the war. Like many schools in Uganda, the student assembly is held under the shade of a huge tree. This particular girls' boarding school has a capacity for 1,000 students, but this school has 2,000 students, twice the physical capacity. Emma's story illustrates why. To keep up on current events, the girls have the news read to them once a week. Emma, who is a top student and hopes one day to be a doctor, is reading the news to her classmates. Emma was abducted as a sex slave by the rebels when she was 8 years old. Returned to her broken-hearted family after the war ended. Her parents did everything they could to raise a pig so that they could sell it and use the proceeds to send Emma to school for a semester. That was almost 2 years ago. You see, the headmistress has kept Emma in school despite her family not having the money to pay the fees for her education. The headmistress knows that if Emma is turned away from school, that she will likely never come back. Her family, who are subsistence farmers, are barely eking out what they need to survive year to year. They just can't afford to send her to school. Emma would likely be married off to someone much older than her and live her life in the same grinding poverty that plagues millions in this region of the world. Emma would not be a doctor. Emma would never be a doctor. Nothing close to a doctor. But if she leaves school, Emma will likely need a doctor, as her chances of death in childbirth would be more than 1 in 8. Her chance of getting HIV/AIDS would be about the same. Emma's life expectancy would drop to what we consider early midlife in the U.S. There are more than 1,000 cases like Emma's in this school alone. We came across the same situation in all the Unity Project partner schools we visited in northern Uganda. What a difference a pig makes, about $120. The Unity Project has gathered 9 major schools, youth programs, health services, media outlets, small business development projects, and others to form a Unity Assembly in northern Uganda. This Unity Assembly is working together to build local capacity to help families make a better living so that they can keep their kids in school and learn essential skills that they need to build up their community. But until they are functioning at full capacity, we need to help promising young kids like Emma catch a break, especially after all they've been through. Despite their horrific past, these kids are gracious, welcoming, and open-hearted. Imagine what they could be if they could just finish their education. $100 doesn't go very far in the U.S., but in Uganda, it can be the difference between Emma pounding the ground with a stick to make a hole to plant corn for the rest of her shortened life, or her becoming a doctor and raising up her community. While you're thinking about it, make a difference in her life and the thousands of kids just like her. Go to www.unityproject.org and make a generous tax-deductible contribution now. Or search for the Unity Project on Facebook and go to the Donate tab. How many kids could you support? 1, 5, 10, 100? You decide what works for you. Be sure to follow my posts on the Unity Project Facebook page as this work develops and see for yourself the effects of your help. Let me know if you'd like to come with on one of our next trips. I'd love to have you. In the meantime, have some friends over to host a small lunch, coffee, or dinner party, and raise a few $1,000s to help these kids as the new school year begins. Maybe your community organization would like to help. They need it right now. I'll happily send you what you need to get going. You can Skype me into the meeting if you'd like. That would be fun. Now, thanks for your time, and thank you for your generous help. Emma and her friends thank you. Please keep in touch and let me know your thoughts. Write me at johnwoodall@unityproject.org. I look forward to hearing from you.
Oh, what a wonderful message for the whole school.
Equally to men is bringing a great change among women and worldwide. Moreover, some people used to think that women's work was only to be in the kitchen, but if you look critically, you will find that even in Uganda there's a women team called Sheep Cranes.